Alright, so now that we've got this, we're going to go in through the spike back here and try and get as much hot glue onto the haft as possible. Hot glue holds amazingly well for what it is, and I've used it in several different applications, and it's quite amazing. Also, I don't know if you can see, but there's a place where it ripped while I was putting it in. So, no worries there. We're just going to fill it with hot glue and go around the edges right here and under there, because whenever I go to paint this and finish it up, I'm actually also going to have a wrap on it to try and help keep this thing in place, because as a prop it'll be fine for the most part, but there's a little bit of side to side motion, twisting motion with this. So I want to eliminate that as much as possible, so that's why we're doing the hot glue. So we'll do that real quick. The great thing about making stuff is it doesn't always have to be pretty, because if you're creative you can cover up your structural needs. In this case, we're going to have a wrap covering this. So. This part will be a little tricky just because you gotta not get it on the sides, but don't worry. I had to get another glue stick. This is going to be well worth it. Yes, I'm using a lot. Like I said, I want this thing to not shift on the haft. And if you don't get it completely right, and some, gets on the sides before it reaches the haft, then you can always take your heat gun and heat it up and it can flow down in there. But I got that pretty good. So I'm going to let this sit upright so that it flows around the haft and hopefully makes a good solid bond. Now you really want to let this sit for a while before you start messing with it again. So let this sit at least 20 minutes. And so I'm going to set it upright, and in 20 or so minutes we're going to attach the haft on here and do a little bit of embellishments, fix the hook, and we'll have a nice, good looking scythe. It's alright. I've let it set for a little while. I grabbed some lunch. So now that it's set, and it's in there really good, what we're going to do is heat this back edge up. Then I'm going to take a pair of needle nose pliers, and whenever it's heated up I'm going to pinch this end and then bend it down and then form it with my hands to where we have a nice graceful hook. And that's going to give it more of a fantasy style look, so that's what I'm wanting to go for with this. Like I said, you could change this any way you want. You don't even have to have this on there. You could just chop it off right there and call it a day. But I'm going to go a little crazy with it, so I'm going to do that, heat it up, and see what we get. piece ready. Tape. Pinch this very end. Let the weight of the tool drop down some. And sorry, I did a cutoff there towards the end. I ran out of storage, but got that fixed. And as you can see, we've got a nice little tiny curve to it. The inside, it's not even. I tried to pinch it as best I could, but it's just one of those things I'm not real great at. But I'm sure I can fix this later with some sealing putty, which is what we will do. So once this is done, where you pinched, you'll just need to cut that portion off. And so I'm going to cut that, and that's going to give us a little bit more of a perceived curve. And once I do that, I'll show you. So alright, I took and sanded it down and evened everything out, because the great thing with the PVC is you can do that. The curves were a little bumpy here and there where I was having to press it in, but through sanding I was able to give it a nice smooth, clean taper and rounded off the point. I still have these two dots over here where I clamped it, but I think I'll leave them. They look kind of cool. So this is it right now. So what I'm going to do is take and heat this end up, smush it together, and then sand it, much the way I did that. So I'll show you what that looks like. It's getting nice and pliable. So once it's almost that point, get your glove on and mash it in. Mash them all in. Try not to leave much of a gap. You will though, just because that's the way PVC goes. We'll be filling that in with some quick cement. And if you like this look, you don't even have to. If this is just going to be something you want to have around, you don't even have to fill it up. So that's almost mashed in together as well as it's going to get for the most part. I might work with it a little bit. Drop my heat gun. But then I'm going to take and sand all this down, make it even, and I'll show you what that looks like. So, got it sanded down. It's not quite as uneven as it was. It's smooth for the most part, so this definitely gives it a much cleaner look. So, it's the only problem with having this handle on here. It's a necessary part, but moving it around and everything, but you can change the order of this. Why I chose to put the handle on, in the third or fourth step, I don't know. But in any event, learn from me. So now that this is done, what we're going to do is mount it on our haft. So take our 64-inch piece of 3/4 pipe. And we're going to measure what we have coming off of this as far as the 1/2-inch pipe. So what we've got sitting here is 14 inches. So we'll take from the top of our 3/4 inch half, going to mark 14 inches. And we are going to heat this section up from the 14-inch line to the end, and then we're going to drive the 1/2-inch pipe into there all the way to the top. And this is going to do a couple of things. One, we're going to have a thicker handle, which will definitely be good. Two, whenever this is driven all the way against this, it's going to act to seat it as well. And then on the top, we're going to take a smaller piece of 3/4 inch and put over this and hot glue it down, and this is going to wedge this head on there, and hopefully it shouldn't slip, move, or do anything no matter what you do. I don't know about heavy combat, if you're sparring or something, but it'd definitely be something you could use to practice with. Or, a lot of people use it for cosplay props. So, we're going to heat this section up, and we need it extremely pliable. I mean, it has to just be a super noodle. And then we're going to jam it on there and all the way to the mark until it's up at the very end, and then straighten the shaft from there. This is probably the hardest part. I don't have too much luck in this. I mean, I get it done, but it's not pretty. So I'm going to set this up, and I'll show you what we're going to do.